Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Recently, I published a video titled, Mechanics Are Vanishing. Here's what's really happening. My thoughts about this car care nut video. I had so many people comment beneath that video. I decided to make this video to share some of those comments with you because they were so interesting. One of the commenters said, I hate working on new cars. They're too complicated. I used to do flat rate and I went hourly because everything takes longer to fix on new cars. It's an awful industry, honestly. They take advantage of the elderly and females. Well, I'm going to share a story with you. I went to the Toyota dealership. I had a light on my dashboard. I had to pay them to inspect my vehicle to tell me what was wrong with it. They told me I needed to get the charcoal canister replaced, which is under the vehicle and it connects to the fuel system. While I was sitting there in the lounge at the dealership, I started reading about this problem online. And I found a forum where some people were talking about how this could be a very simple fix. Apparently, the seal for the fuel cap can break down over time and it doesn't seal properly, and that can throw code. So I went to the parts department at the dealership. I purchased a brand new OEM fuel cap because the commenters in the forum said, make sure you get an OEM fuel cap. So I bought that. I installed it on my Camry. I drove it for a little while and that light went off. So I wasted my money getting the vehicle inspected just so they could tell me that I needed to fix something that I really didn't need to fix. It turned out it was as simple as a new fuel cap. So I'm not a female. I don't consider myself elderly, but I felt as though they were prepared to take advantage of me. I could have spent a lot of money getting that charcoal canister replaced under the vehicle. Now, the next commenter said, he speculated that one might have $50,000 in tools. This person's talking about a mechanic. This person says, no. After 38 years, it's more like $350,000 in my toolbox. Can you imagine being an automotive service technician and having $350,000 in tools? That's a lot of money. The next commenter said, thank you for covering this issue. The hourly pay for auto techs hasn't increased at all in 20 years, though everything else is now twice as expensive. Well, my friends, this is the case for a lot of industries, not just the automotive industry. A lot of people have not seen their wages keep pace with inflation. Unfortunately, a lot of everyday Americans don't bring home enough in their paycheck to support their standard of living. This is why a lot of people are relying on credit cards or buy now, pay later loans because they have no other choice. They can't pay all of their bills with what they are bringing home. It's truly sad. The next commenter said, I was an auto mechanic learning this skill from the age of 9 in my dad's service station, and I did this skill until I was in my mid-20s. I worked at dealerships. I became a welder when the dealerships kicked the unions out, and pay became piecework off of a flat rate book. The flat rate book is based on new cars that don't have bolts and parts that break. If you break a bolt, it's going to take you more time, and you will be working for less than minimum wage. The next commenter said, try $249 per hour at our local Acura dealership, and the tech gets $33 per hour. My friends, there's a big disconnect there. This might be why some dealership owners are flying around in private jets. They really are making a lot of money. I know of a dealership owner who has a private jet. He is making a ton of money. And he's doing that because he's paying the technicians whatever wage he can get away with. Another commenter said, I am 74 years old and I'm a master technician. I have $500,000 in tools, and I make $21.50 per flag hour. We have no AC, and I work in Louisiana. When it is 95 outside, the shop is 105 degrees. By the way, we do not get paid by the hour on the clock. Flag time is the amount of labor hours the customer is charged. P.S. The shop I work at charges the customer $135 an hour. I get $21.50 an hour. One other thing, parts are marked up from 300 to 500%. I wish this person would have told us what type of dealership he works at. It would be really interesting to know the brand. Another commenter said, I'm the son of a mechanic whose father was a mechanic. I had to say no to the family profession, which I know how to do and enjoy doing. Flat rate had become criminal when I was old enough to finally enter the profession, and cars were having stupid BS become standard, like you have 2 to 3 hours to disassemble an entire front dash made of dumb, brittle interlocking plastics to replace one $15 to $20 vent motor and then reassemble it, all while being treated like the enemy and being frustrated by both your boss and the vehicle manufacturers and designers. Another commenter said, only $125 an hour for the labor rate? That sounds insanely cheap compared to what I'm used to. Try $220 per hour up to $240 per hour in the Bay Area of California. Another commenter said, mechanics work on flat rate pay system. Whatever the book says, that's what the job pays in hours. It's designed to cut labor in half. So if you make $40 for flat rate, that's about equal to $20 per clock hour. They use these labor guides to cut labor to a minimum, and they make 300% off parts. Nothing in this industry will ever change for the better. If a mechanic goes to a tire shop, he's likely to get paid by the clock hour at a very low wage, as low as $11 to $16 per hour. Your back won't make it until age 60. This person also said, when a mechanic gets older, there's nowhere to move up unless you open your own business. The next commenter said, you are right on. Couldn't improve your analysis at all. I retired from automotive. Now I'm doing small engines, much less stress. This next commenter said, I have been a Ford Master Tech for 30 years, and I make $40 an hour flat rate. But the dealership charges $225 an hour. We have no air conditioning, and I work in Florida. It's also a struggle just to make 40 hours a week anymore. The time you get paid to do these jobs are a joke. Warranty times are even worse. The cars are so complicated you can hardly work on them, and everything is your fault. You're also expected to diagnose everything perfectly all the time. If the manufacturer can't build it right the first time, how am I supposed to fix it right the first time? You also have to spend an average of $50,000 in tools, and no one makes a bigger financial commitment than a technician. I'm getting out soon, and I urge young people to not do this job. There were 78 people that gave that comment a thumbs up. Apparently, that message resonated with a lot of people. Another commenter said, I was a career mechanic, and I left and went to AAA as a roadside tech, where I make more money than a dealership mechanic of 25 years. Wow, that is really interesting. However, you do have to risk your life on the side of the road. You never know if someone's texting while driving down the highway, and that could end your life. Another commenter said, splitting 50-50 with your employees is a fair concept. In my prior video, this is something that I suggested. I once worked for a very intelligent man, and he always split the money 50-50 with his employees. He said it made them work harder. And at the end of the day, he still made a lot of money. The next commenter said, I started working as an auto tech in 1979. The payback then was often, if not always, better back in the 1970s. There were a lot of shops that would offer a good tech a nice commission on parts and labor, plus a base pay. And if you were busy, you could make a lot of money. And the cars and trucks were a lot simpler and usually easier to work on. It's rough hearing that good, certified technicians are not making much over $20 to $25 per hour, especially with today's high cost of living. Well, my friends, the commenters always have interesting things to say. I always take the time to read as many comments as I can, and I often learn a lot from the commenters. I feel bad that I don't have more time to respond to the commenters. I really hope that you enjoyed this format of video. I think this is a wake-up call to the automotive industry. A lot of technicians are not being treated fairly. I hope the owners of these dealerships wake up. I hope they start paying their technicians more fairly. I think at the end of the day, if the technicians are paid well and they're happier, perhaps the customers would be happier. And at the end of the day, maybe the dealership would flourish. But that's just what I think. And what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.